10,000 millionaires or whatever it was.
Well, it was just in one go.
In one go left. Rich people are leaving, okay? And that's because they know that the clampdown on, well, being a capitalist basically is happening at the moment. China's closing down. And the reason they got rich in the first place and the methods that they use to get rich are no longer really possible.
Yeah.
Okay? People know they can see the writings on the wall. The rich people know. The rich people have left, especially people in Shanghai who have experienced the lockdowns and so on.
Yeah.
Their illusions of China being a better, greener pasture is now gone. Right? Because it was like that for a while, you know? China is growing, very prosperous. Some people that had gone overseas to start a life and they have a career and all that kind of nonsense, they then see China suddenly just growing crazily, you know? New infrastructure popping up in a year, new high-speed rails, you know, a lot of money being thrown into the tech industry and into all this stuff. So they got enticed back to China, a lot of people. They're like, okay, we're going to go back there. This is where we're going to go make money. We're going to find our mountain of gold or whatever. They get back to China. Things are rapidly growing. They are seeing a great change, but now they're seeing the opposites happening.
Yeah.
Okay, things are closing down. If you're a millionaire or a billionaire, you better watch your back because the Chinese government's coming after you eventually. And they nab you for whatever reason, and they freeze your assets, and they take your company from you and all this kind of nonsense.
Freeze your ass.
Yeah, exactly. And so people are like, now they're trying to get their money out, and they're trying to get out. But there's this awful situation now where it's incredibly difficult to leave China. They're making it harder and harder for people to get passports.
It's getting harder and harder to leave.
Yeah, it is.
I got a lot of song lyrics in my head right now.
Yeah, exactly. But no, quite seriously, it's getting incredibly difficult for people to actually just leave right now. You can't casually travel, that's for sure.
No.
No. And we've had a lot of anecdotal situations, people reaching out and saying, hey, listen, I've been applying for a passport for my Chinese wife for like a year now, and they haven't been giving her one.
Yeah. So we've heard success stories as well, thankfully, but it's becoming more of a norm to be very worried about this.
Yeah.
So what's been going on is that there have been a lot of WeChat messages going around.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm only going to show you the translated ones because it's not going to be useful to read the Chinese ones for you. So it's fairly accurate translation. Basically, people have these WeChat groups, and if you don't use WeChat, you can kind of think of it like a WhatsApp group. Right?
Sure.
So you have, on WhatsApp, if you guys use WhatsApp, you can have a group chat, or on Instagram DMs, you can have a group chat on there. Twitter DMs, or think about it like your text messaging. You can have a group of people in your SMS, like your text messaging, iMessage, things like that. And you'll have a theme for these groups in WeChat. So this is like, just think of China's messaging service. And let's say this group is called planning to leave, right? Or this group is called I want to move to America.
Or just immigrate abroad.
Or immigrate abroad. Or even invest abroad,
Yeah.
right? Do things abroad, even travel groups, right? And a lot of these are getting smacked with notices from the government that are telling them they either have to shut them down, right? Or they're just getting notices that they will be shut down, right? And when people are looking into it and looking at the government notices, what it was being said was that if you are talking about how to get money out of China, not just that, if you're talking about how to get a passport to travel abroad, and if you're talking about anything other than using your passport for student exchange or for like a government-sponsored trip type thing, then you're not allowed to talk about passport applications or immigration processes or tour groups, things like this. And so there's huge amounts of these tour group companies and WeChat groups that are surrounding immigration in general. How do I move to Canada? How do I go visit my daughter? How do I, this kind of stuff that are getting wiped out. And actually, it's becoming a law to not be allowed to talk about these things because unless you follow or adhere strictly to the guidelines, I'm translating in my head. If you strictly adhere to the guidelines of the immigration policy of China. If you're not doing that, and that's, like I said, it's covering the swath of things, right? If you're not following that, then your group gets wiped out, and then you could potentially get into trouble. So this has caused like a firestorm. Some people are getting these notices, and then people on Weibo were talking to each other, on WeChat were talking to each other in private and saying, like, what's going on? Like, is the immigration policy changing like crazy? And some people at the top that work in this kind of field, that have these kind of companies, are now going out and saying, listen, there must be something massive changing in China's immigration policy, so everyone stay on your toes, be careful. And that, in turn, has caused a massive another wave of people trying to leave.
That's right.
And finding all kinds of crazy ways, going through the Kazakh border, trying to get through Hong Kong, all of these kind of dialogues about how much...
Was it Turkey or Hungary?
Yeah, Turkey.
Turkey is a big one. Like if you
that's
invest there,
less popular.
Yeah, it was like you can go there, and if you invest a certain amount of money, you can get a passport, and then you can get into the EU or like the US easy.
So
like that.
this obviously doesn't pertain to people that have like a Chinese wife or something. You can still, if you're married to someone, you can still get out if you are a foreign citizen of another country. It's not easy.
But it's not easy to get your wife or your Chinese girlfriend out, like, unless they've already got an established visa and an established passport and everything.
My point is, it's not impossible.
No, it's
what
not.
is becoming impossible for some of these people is discussion around leaving if you don't have those connections.
Yeah,
right?
if you haven't started any of these processes, and now it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, it's pretty wild what's happening. So keep your eyes out on this. We've seen this probably for the past year or two. We've seen China cracking down on letting people leave, period.
Yeah.
But now there's another, it looks like another wave of this, almost like another layer of cracking down on this.
Yeah.
And they're trying to prevent a bunch of things. They're trying to prevent talent from leaving.
Yes, brain drain.
There's a huge brain drain problem in China. And Xi Jinping is actually, if you're a Chinese nationalist, you'll think he's done a really good job on this. He's done a good job in keeping Chinese people put, whether legally, extra legally, or by people's choice or not. But keeping people put in China because the brain drain of engineers, programmers, people that the key Chinese industries need in their domestic.
That's why places like America thrive, is because the best minds from India and China and so on, they want to come to America, and they leave China and they come to America, and they do very well here. Because it's rewarded. And you get to live a better life.
You do.
So that's why people come to America, for instance, from China. But if you're not allowed to leave, or if it's difficult for you to leave, then China gets to keep your talents.
So China's done it. Well, Xi Jinping's done a good job of making people stay. And I suspect this is just another way of getting people to not move their money out. And one of the huge indicators of this was when the whole real estate situation started to falter.
Yeah.
You saw big companies like Evergrande and even some smaller ones.
Sure.
They were just not returning on their investment or not giving people their houses or money.
Yeah,
right?
either one.
When that was kind of blowing up, you were seeing people finally talk to each other about it and say, hey, maybe we should stop investing in this real estate sector, right? And so what was the next best option? Hey, well, traditionally investing in property was a good way to combat the instability of China. China's a very unstable country, right? Just despite what you might hear from the Chinese government, it's a very bad place to have your money.
Yeah.
Because you can't get it out and they can freeze it and it's nationalized, right? The Chinese government actually ultimately has to say over everything you do. So when you can't have liquid capital and you can't move your investments around and stuff, what's the next best thing? Well, probably get the money out of China.
Correct.
So you have people that are, in the lost generation, 60, 70 years old that have, let's say some of them have money. They can be as nationalist as can be. They can be the biggest Xi Jinping lover. They can be red to the core, right? Love the party above all. They can go to their square and sing communist songs all day. But when push comes to shove and their money's on the table, they know, and they're not stupid, that the government's not going to take care of them. So what's the next step? The next logical step is to invest abroad. Yeah. I mean, I was looking at 60, 70-year-olds buying crypto. Yeah. I mean, these are people that have no idea what this is. They know what to do. They know how to get their money out, right?
They do.
They're trying to stop that ultimately.
Well, I mean, they banned Bitcoin and stuff in China for that reason. Because too many people were getting money out.
Yeah.
It was too easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, to summarize this situation, it's always been very easy to go onto the Chinese internet and search, how do I immigrate to America, for instance? And it comes up with tons of loopholes and scams and ways to do it. I mean, I did a video on the whole birth tourism thing. Remember, I just went and translated some websites. You go on there and they're like, oh, it's easy. We'll teach you how to lie to immigration. So get pregnant. Make sure you're X amount pregnant, and then you come and you just wear loose clothing, and you lie to them about why you're coming and all that sort of thing.
Hawaii.
Yeah, or Guam. But you go to America, like they have places in California, and on the website that I translated, they were like, you can even choose if you want a Chinese doctor or a Western doctor. We've got it all lined up.
You have the luxury to choose.
You can choose that, and we've got like
how to do immigration fraud.
Yeah, they teach you how to do immigration fraud on the website. It's like, this is what you say when they ask you these questions. You lie to them about this. You lie to them about that.
When the immigration talks to you about this, and this, this is what you say in this order.
Yeah, it's like when they ask you how long you're going to stay, tell them 2 weeks. Don't worry, when you're here, you'll be here for 6 months. That kind of thing. All these lies. It was very easy to translate. And then another part of that whole thing is like, we've got apartments here. You just come, you stay in the apartment. We have your food ready for you. We set you up once. And then they're like, once you've given birth, then we'll help you get the passport for your child. And then you can open up this kind of a bank account, this kind of a trust fund in your child's name. And that's another way to funnel money out. But this is public on the internet that I could go read it and translate it right there. That's the kind of thing that they're clamping down on right now. If you go search like, how can I immigrate to America? All these like, 1, 2, 3 step stuff, that's being deleted.
Yeah.
That's being
most of it.
Yeah, it's being scrutinized. It's not as blatant as it was before. Yeah. But just to let you know that kind of thing is what we're trying to talk about here. It's those kind of steps on how to immigrate, the loopholes that you can take advantage of. The Chinese government is clamping down on that, cramping as well, I guess. Sure. They're like, cramp, these guys trying to leave, oh, my heart, But, that's what's going on with this nonsense. And it's not good because it shows you the intent of the government is to...
That's what I was going to say. It's about the intent.
Yeah, it's to stop people, the freedom of movement.
It's really to send a message, too, and to stop people's ambitions ahead of time. Yeah. So people that might have said, hey, my next 5-year plan is to maybe get out of China. I still love my country and everything, but I think we're headed down a darker path, or it's not going to be good for a place to raise my kids, or it's not going to be a good place to keep my savings. They're trying to stop that now. Yeah. Because the brain, like you said, the brain drain, the outflux of capital, it was a fire hose.
Yeah, it's terrible.
And unlike the fire hydrants in China, they actually worked if the money is funneling everywhere outside of China.
Good analogy. All right, now we're going to move on to a little bit of a controversy over here.